G'day. Today in the warehouse we have the brand new Cooper Rugged Trek all-terrain tyre. I'm pretty excited about this tyre because it's a proper aggressive looking tyre, so reminds me of the Baja Boss AT, but that's Mickey Thompson, this is Cooper. It's got some really interesting technology on it, so what I thought I'd do is actually phone a friend. Got Rob from Cooper Tyres here. Say hello everyone, Rob.
Hi guys.
And I'm actually going to give you to James. Hi guys. And Rob, what is it about these tyres that we should be getting excited about?
Well, basically the Rugged Trek, you're talking about one of the best tyres between an all-terrain and a mud terrain. It is a RT style tyre. It is a rugged terrain and is one of the best four-wheel drive tyres currently on the market.
Yep, so it's actually being marketed as an RT rather than an AT.
Correct. That is correct, Jared, yeah.
So yeah, it's got these huge voids on the side and quite widely spaced tread blocks. I know you've got 7 things you want to talk to me about, 7 reasons why this is a good tyre to be purchasing.
7 reasons.
What's the first of the 7 reasons?
Well, we're talking about the first one is obviously 63% more tread depth than OE tyres. So your normal OE release tyres, you're talking up to 63% more tread depth. Standard OE tyres can range to be about 9 or 10 mil in tread depth.
Yeah.
The Cooper Rugged Trek is 14.6 mil.
Yeah, so I can basically lose a finger in the width of these tread blocks, but also in the depth of the tread blocks as well. So we probably better do the nose test. It's actually pretty comfy. So what's reason number 2?
Reason number 2 is we're looking at a larger footprint of the tyre. So you're looking at up to 14% larger footprint overall of the tyre versus an OE spec. And that's got to do with utilising the full carcass of the tyre, utilising the full tread width, and putting all of our latest technology into the tyre.
So by that you mean it's actually square on to the bulge of the tyre?
Correct, yes. We're utilising the more of the width of the actual tread of the carcass itself, yes.
Yeah. Hold on a second, we've got a plane going over the top of us. We're underneath the Light Airport here. We're just about to move office closer to the Light Airport. So what's reason number 3 as to why we should be choosing the Cooper Rugged Trek?
Reason number 3 is we're actually 25% more load carrying capacity versus a standard OE tyre. So what you're talking about there is you're talking about tread, carcass and compound of the actual tyre, the 3 elements that make up the tyre. And in this particular instance, 25% more carrying capacity refers to the sidewall construction of the actual tyre itself.
Yeah. So are these 2 or 3 ply sidewall tyres?
These are a 2 ply sidewall. They're at a 1500 denier polyester, which means is that they are thicker than most others on the market, especially factory OE tyres. So what you get with that is you get the strength.
So so it's 2 ply sidewall tyre, which means it's more comfy, but the actual the threads that they're made out of,
the polyester cording, correct?
Yeah.
So as it goes across the actual wedge of the tyres, you're talking about the strength. So if you imagine some sort of weave or a woven or a ripstock material, sort of similar to that, the thickness of that polyester cord is what really counts and what really is going to hold that tyre into shape. What you're also looking at is high tensile steel belt package in the actual tyre as well. So the majority of, or most of, years have changed and things have changed, but you're basically talking now standard steel versus high tensile steel. And if you're looking at that from a construction bolt sort of process, the strength is just, totally different.
Yeah. So that's, by that you mean the actual the face plies of the tyre. So using high tensile.
The body plies, yes, the body plies. Yeah.
As well as a variety of other, other fabrics and that sort of stuff in there as well, because there'd be a number of plies between the inside and the outside.
Correct.
What's reason number 4?
Ultimate wet grip. Ultimate wet grip. So over 30% chemically coupled silica compound in this tyre. And if you're trying to think about that in terms of percentages, you're thinking about motorcycle tyre, a front motorcycle tyre, standard performance, 100% silica, wanting that complete grip. You're looking at it,
So basically, with this thing, I should have grip that approaches an OE tyre or exceeds an OE tyre. What's the
Way exceeds an OE tyre. Way exceeds
wow?
an OE tyre. Up to yeah, 30% chemically coupled silica in
Yeah,
this tyre, the Cooper
that's
Rugged
pretty
Trek.
good. I had a one of the new Rangers as a loaner car the other day, and I noticed that even in the dry, it just understeered out the wazoo in comparison to a lot of these bigger tyres that I've been running recently. So that's pretty amazing. I'm actually looking forward to putting these to the long-term tests. Cooper has been kind enough to actually give us 4 tyres as a long-term test, and we'll be running those for between 5 and 10,000 Ks. So I'm excited about that. But what's reason number 5, Rob?
Quite a ride, quite a ride. So when a lot of their four drivers nowadays, we're looking at big trucks, big suspension kits, you know, you look at some tires and you think, oh my God, they must be very noisy. So in this, if you actually have a look at the actual tread design, Jared, you're looking at the little whisper grooves that sit on the outer shoulder blocks.
Yep.
Correct, right there.
So
So
that's
you've got
yeah.
whisper grooves there, and what that does is that as the tire's rotating and slapping surface onto the road, what happens is that it creates a sound barrier internally in the tire. So the noise is no longer pushing outwards of the tire, creating an echoing effect. It's actually hitting the road and the sound is escaping. So it's not giving you that mud tire noise that
Yep.
most people in the four-wheel drive industry would be used to.
That's right, because you look at this thing and you see how aggressive it is. You'd think it's going to be noisy, but the theory is that it's not noisy.
One of the other things I wanted to touch on that backs that up, if you look at the little ridges in between the shoulder blocks.
Yep. So these ones here?
Yeah, they're like, no, on the outer shoulder block, they look like a little step down ridge.
Oh, yes,
So,
like a little set of steps.
So what that does too is that kind of backs up our number 5, you know, which is a quieter ride. So it adds another layer in there as a sound barrier. For sound escaping, it reinforces. But also, we're one of the only tires on the market currently that have these shoulder ridges happening. So you're talking about reduced sound, backing up a whisper groove. You're talking about protection of sharps, you know, sharp sticks, stones, rocks, etc., like that. Shoulder punches, which is very common when you're off full driving
that's
roadie.
right. So that added an extra bit of rubber in between the blocks, effectively.
Extra protection, yes, extra protection.
And they would act as stone ejectors as well, wouldn't they?
Correct. They serve as a third purpose. As a third purpose, yeah, you're talking about stone ejection also.
That's cool. So yeah, we've got what they're calling the whisper grooves, which are actually whisper ridges in between each block on the outside shoulders of these tires, which is pretty interesting because I don't think I've seen a big aggressive tire like this that actually has that technology on each block. Like, for example, the Baja Boss AT actually had them on every second or third block, but not every single block on both sides of the tire.
Yes. And look, part of the reason of that, Jared, is that when you're looking at this tire, we're really trying to get it across as much as a four-wheel drive market as we can. So the tire's been designed for that RT style sort of market, people that are four-wheel drivers, but also want that on-road quietness. Where if you go for something like a Mickey Thompson Baja Boss AT, the actual difference is inside the internal tread blocks itself. So once the internal tread block changes, that's when you can either use whisper groove technology more consistently or less consistently, depending on what sort of internal tread block design you have on the tire.
Yeah, makes sense. What's reason number 6?
Reason number 6, 20% stronger sidewalls. We've kind of already touched on that with the 25% more load carrying capacity, but you're talking about high tensile body ply. Most other brands are using standard tensile.
Yeah.
It's just basically touching on that. So the argument is a lot of people out there nowadays in the four-wheel drive industry are saying, well, I need a 3-ply. You know, I'm used to using a 3-ply. I've used 3-ply for years. It's like, well, the technology is now caught up. A lot of these 2-ply tires coming out into the market now, especially with ours in particular, using high tensile body pliers, are 3-ply really necessary? You know, how much weight are you carrying? What sort of four-wheel driving are you really doing? And that's really some of the questions you have to ask yourself. Because sorry, Jared. Well, what can happen?
That's awkward, isn't it? I was going to say, so you would say that these are fine for longer distance grey nomad, outback travel, you know, people in the ute with a canopy on the back, as well as your local four-wheel drive tracks around home too?
Without a doubt, easily, yes.
Yeah, awesome. What's reason number 7?
Reason number 7 is if we're going back to the shoulder blocks again, we were talking about the little ridges here before. We're now talking about the angled scalloped shoulders.
Yes.
So you'll see as the tire's rotating, you'll see that a lot of tires on the market are actually just a straight up and down. There's no angle applied to their shoulder blocks. So what this technology is that Top Truck Challenge in the US, it's been designed for that. It's run across a couple of brands for us. And what it does is that as the tire's rotating, it's at the optimal 8-degree angle. So what it's doing is it's actually...
Sorry, like plane.
A few moments later.
So the mud scoops on the shoulders, basically 8-degree angle, and they enhance traction. They are for off-road confidence.
A few moments
They are designed
later.
for the Top Truck Challenge in the US. It was originally a fantastic thing, a fantastic design in order to cut down time trials when they're actually off-road racing. So it is a technology that's been brought across to this tire. It's functional. It's not just for show. It's angled, and it serves a purpose.
Yeah, so it looks like it's almost pushing the muck or whatever into the next block, or the gravel perhaps even into the next block.
So as the tire digs, it is pushing any sort of loose sand, debris, mud, whatever, into that next tread block. And as you can see from the ridges in between the block, it's just creating consistent air pockets throughout the tire. So it's dispelling whatever loose is going to get stuck in there, and it's just keeping the tire clean, functional rotation all the time.
Yeah, cool. That was reason number 7, wasn't it? I've lost track.
That was reason number 7.
Reason number 7.
7 reasons.
You've also got pretty heavy siping through here as well. That looks like it's got some science behind it. What's the background of the siping?
Well, we're talking about zigzag siping, or what we like to call waffle siping. So, and the first thing you'll notice is in the internal blocks is that they're omnidirectional.
Yes.
And they're actually internal. So you'll notice in a lot of four-wheel drive tires on the market nowadays, the siping will go to the edge of the block. We've retained that by keeping the siping internal. So if you've got siping that's going to the edge of the block, it can really increase the cut and chip damage to a tire over overall time. And by keeping the siping internal, that keeps the actual structural integrity of the block more intact. So what you're talking about now is how do we make the siping optimal while keeping it internal? So we create a zigzag pattern. So if you imagine a folded piece of paper in a zigzag pattern, it's actually going to fold out to be longer.
Yep.
So if you really think about that, key benefit of that is as this tire is rotating and opening up and expanding and coming back together, it's really dispelling the water out of the tire. It's keeping the grip on the road consistent all the time.
That's cool. That makes a lot of sense with the paper analogy. So you're theoretically getting a whole bunch more sipe bang for your buck with a zigzag sipe rather than a straight one. That's cool. Tell me about the sidewalls. So we actually have 2 different sidewalls on this tire, don't we?
We have dual sidewalls, and the reason for is that we're noticing a lot of people on the market are wanting a bit more of a stance with their tires now. We're just trying to provide a bit more of an option. We have made these sidewalls actually quite large, quite thick, and not just an aesthetic show appearance. They are functional. So on one side, you're talking about what we call a knife's edge.
That's that one.
That's
knife's
edge.
And then on the other side,
you flip the tire.
Yep.
Yeah. And then you're talking about a mountain pass, and you can see the little mountain in there, which is obviously creates a bit more of an air pocket there.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And
so what that also does is that we retain the thickness of these sidewall designs and not made them just a standard thickness. The reason for that is when you air the tire down, you're obviously gaining more traction on the road, a larger footprint, and actual tread functionality that you can use off-road.
Yeah, that's right. So you've actually got some depth there, and that's going to help you. Oh, fine. That's awkward. That's going to help you digging out of the ruts and that sort of thing as well, because you've got that extra traction on the side. So back to your last statement on the tyres.
The Cooper Rugged Trek for us is the best four-wheel drive tyre Cooper's ever made. It's got our latest technology in it. It's got all of our technology in it. You're talking about tread, carcass, and compound. When we talk tyres, as we break it down into 3 sections, this is purposely built for that person who is an all-terrain person, who is a mud terrain person, but wants the best of both worlds. As always, we got the Cooper Tyres mileage warranty. So you're talking about up to 80,000 kilometre mileage warranty on this tyre. That's across Australia nationally.
That's awesome.
And you're talking about light truck construction with high tensile steel belt packages, whisper grooves, chemically coupled silica.
I mean, all the fun stuff, really. Why? How could you ever say no?
How could you say no?
I'll say no. Thanks very much for that, Rob. We'll get back to regular filming.
All right, thanks, mate.
See ya. So, back to you guys, back to just me. I mean, bringing a third party into it's fun, but you know, sometimes it's a bit awkward when there's three of you going on. That sounded pretty cool to me. One thing I just remembered to check on is that it doesn't have a rim protector on this tyre. So there's no rim protector on the Cooper Rugged Trek, which is interesting. But you can actually feel the heft of these sidewalls. So I'm really keen to see how these go on the long-term review on the Ford Ranger that I've got. I mean, it's interesting that Cooper are a high-end tyre, and based on what Rob's saying, they put a bunch of technology into this. And you can actually see that when you're looking at the tread pattern. There's all this extra little things going on within the tread blocks that you don't necessarily see on a lot of other, probably lower price point tyres. So let's see how this translates over the next 5 to 10,000 Ks, because I'm just about to put these on my car, and I actually can't wait, because I like a good rough tyre like this one. So that's the Cooper Rugged Trek. Tune in the next 5 to 10,000 Ks for the end of long-term review. The sun's coming out, the light's changing. I'll stop waffling. Thanks for tuning in.